Today, 3% inflation. Tiga, dua, satu.
Hello everyone, good afternoon to all of you. I am Rosnita from Excel Academy and I am your host for today. Welcome to our third session for this National Training Week with the most anticipated topic, Microsoft Excel Data Analysis with Excel's Conditional Formulas. Okay, today we have Miss Adila Diyana, an expert Excel trainer. So in this 1 hour session, we hope you can gain as much knowledge as you can. And if you have any question regarding this topic, do leave your message in the comment section and Miss Adila will answer them right after her presentation. Also, don't forget to fill out the output assessment form provided in the comments section. Kindly fill out all your contact details accordingly, okay? Because e-certificate will only be given to those who have completed the feedback form. All right, so let's not wait anymore. Now I pass this floor to Miss Adila.
All right, thank you so much, Rosnita, for the nice introduction. So, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. So, firstly, I would like to say Happy National Training Week to everyone. I believe everyone have attended a lot of courses lined up for all of you for this whole week. And thank you for joining this session, today's session particularly, where we will discover more conditional formulas inside Microsoft Excel. All right. So without wasting any time, let me start off by presenting my screen here so I can share more about what are some of the conditional formulas that I would like to cover for today with all of you. Right, so when we talk about conditional formulas, right, definitely we want to see into formulas that allows us to be used inside Excel with certain condition. So in this particular 1 hour session, we will focus on three main conditional formulas, which are the if formula. We also have COUNTIF and also SUMIF. And for if formula, we will also learn how we can use the if formula just by itself. If, we will also see how we can combine if with and. And the third one, we will see how we can combine the formula of if with or. So in total, we'll be covering around three main topics: if, COUNTIF, and SUMIF, which are the main conditional formulas used in Excel. And inside the if formula itself, we will be branching more into the combination of if and formula, as well as if and or formula, right? So let's start off with the if formula first. Sharing my screen here, and let's open the if worksheet. All right, so these are the example that I would like to cover. So we will go through just simple example whereby we have the name of a student here and how much do they score. And let's say for result, okay, the condition is we want to categorize the students, whether they are pass, whether they fail the exam, whether they are excellent, average, or poor, etc. So this particular line, you can actually customize it yourself, all right, what label you want to use. So for if formula today, we'll look at three different cases. So the first one is if there is only one criteria. Example here, we considered those which are greater than or equal to 80 is considered pass, right? And then the second part, we will go through two criteria within one condition. The first condition is we want to label it as excellent if the marks of the student is greater than or equal to 80. And then for those who scores between 50 and 79, all right, we want to label them as average, for example. So this would be the second case that we'll go through later. And the final part is where there are three criteria. So the first one, greater than or equal to 80 is excellent, right? And then the second one is between 50 and 79, we consider them as average. And if the student scored below 50, the result we will want to input it as poor. Okay, so those are the three different cases that we want to cover inside the if formula. So now let's look at the most simplest condition, all right, whereby we only have one condition here. The criteria is If it is greater than or equal to 80, we consider it pass. So this one we have to be careful here, because if you only put as greater than 80, then Excel will only read it starting number 81, right? But if you want the marks of 80 to be included in and be considered as pass, you need to make sure you input as greater than or equal to 80. Only then Excel will read it as 80 is the starting point and not 81, right? So that is just a gentle reminder there. So here in column A and column B, in column A, I have the names of the students. Example, we have Amanda, Ben, Charles, Daphne, etc. And in column B, we have the score, right? So we want to use the if formula now. So usually when I use the if formula, there are two ways for you to do it. Either you can type it here, right, and do it yourself. But here, what I'm trying to show you is we will use the insert function here. All right, we will use the insert function here. Mainly the reason because it will be easier for us to see what do we have to input. So to use the if formula, first, any formula in Excel, you must start off with the symbol of equal to, all right? And then you can input the formula that you want to use. Example here, if IF, then if you can see my cursor here on the blue colored if, all right, just double click on the if. And then above column B, you can see there's fx here, which represent insert function. Just click on the insert function and your function arguments will come out. So I particularly like to use these function arguments because it becomes clear to me what do I need to input under each of these line. Example, under logical test, what do I need to put? Value if true and also value if false. So here under the logical test, all right, we want to check the marks or the scores, correct? So I will click on the cell B9 here, all right, with the score of 92. And then here I will input the symbol of greater than equal to 80 because that is the criteria, right? We want greater than or equal to 80. We consider them as pass. So that is the logical test. Okay, I repeat again. Just click on the cell of B9, okay, which is the score that we want to check the result, whether they pass or they fail. Input the formula of greater than, equal to, and then put the number 80, which is your criteria. Under value if true, you can put it as any label, all right? You can put it as pass, okay? And then false, you can put it as fail. Or if you want it in lulus or gagal also, it's fine, right? It is customizable, okay? You can put anything you want. So we just follow the criteria. So I just put here as pass and also fail, all right? And then you click on OK. And if you just put your cursor on bottom right here until you see a plus sign, that's double click. So it applies to the rest of the cell as well. So here you can see, all right, automatically you don't need to check one by one, okay, whether it's above 80 or not, and then like copy paste the pass and fail wordings into each cell. Just use the function of if, right? So here, let's do a testing here. What if I change the score for Amanda to 80? If you see, if I change it to 80, all right, the result's still showing as pass because when I put inside the logical test, I put it as greater than or equal to 80. That's why starting the number 80, Excel will read it as pass. But if I put as greater than 80 only, all right, let's just do a test here. All right, if B9, okay, cell B9 is greater than 80, what happens? So if you see here, the result automatically changed to fail, all right, because only number 81 and above, Excel will read it as pass. So just be careful on this. So let me just change it back to greater than or equal to. Okay, so that is the first case study that we are looking into using a formula with only one criteria, which is greater than or equal to 80 is considered as pass, right? So now let's go through the second one, okay, whereby we have two criteria here, greater than or equal to 80, we want to mark them as excellent. And then if the scores is between 50 and 79, we want to label them as average, okay? So again here, let's input the wording of if here, right? So let's say here, if, double click on the formula, all right? And then you can click on insert function. So the function arguments will come out, and again, you will see the line of logical test, value if true, and also value if false. All right, so let's open the insert function. Okay, so here the first thing is we will actually highlight on the cell here, okay, the score for Amanda 79, which is cell G9, right? We put greater than, equal to, 80, okay? And then under value if true, you can put it as excellent because that is the criteria. Now, logical test and value if true, it's fairly simple, all right? Logical test, we did it earlier inside example 1, and value if true, you just put it as excellent. Now, the tricky part that I need you to pay attention at is under value if false, because we need to input for the second criteria, which is for scores between 50 and 79, all right, we want to mark them as average, okay? So here what you have to do is, inside the value if false, okay, you need to input, you need to type in if, okay, and then you open bracket, all right? So we put here if, all right, open bracket, and then you highlight back the cell G9 here, put the second criteria greater than or equal to 50. Okay, so that is the criteria for the second criteria between 50 and 79. We want it as average. And then inside here as well, you need to put the word average. So after you input equal to if, open bracket, right? You insert, you click on cell G9, the score of 79, and then you input greater than or equal to 50, put comma here, all right, and then input the word of average here. Close it back with a double apostrophe, and then finally close it with a bracket here. So this is the formula that you need to input. Logical test, straightforward. Logical test is straightforward, all right, and then value if true is excellent. And then here, value if false is if, all right, then you input the G9 again, greater than or equal to 50, all right, and then finally we put the average in. Sorry, oops. You need to put double bracket over there, sorry about that. So here you put bracket as well, all right, at the ending of the average, and then when you click OK, it will appear as average. So here, if you apply the formula to the rest of it as well, so if you score between 50 and 79, from 50 to 79, we'll mark it as average. You can see here 79 is average. And for those score which is more than 80, all right, we will mark it as excellent. And here, if let's say for Charles, we change the score to 50, all right, it will still showing average, because why? When we do the formula here under if, we put it as greater than or equal to 50. That's why 50 is also considered as average. So the trick here, if you have two conditions, is for your logical test and value if true, it's straightforward. But for value if false, okay, you need to input again the formula of if, okay, and then just input the criteria that you want, inclusive of the remark or the label that you want to put in. In this case, it's average. So under value if false, just type the word if, all right, open bracket, click on the cell, input the formula or the symbol of greater than or equal to 50, comma, and then you input the average or the label that you want. In this case, we put it as average, and then you close it off again with a bracket. So that is under value if false. Okay, so that is for two criteria here. Now, going on to the third criteria, okay, so as you can anticipate, all right, let's have a look at the insert function. As you can anticipate here, for the logical test, it's straightforward. Okay, value if true is also straightforward. So for logical test, we just click on cell L9, okay, greater than or equal to 80, that is excellent. Then for value if false, we need to put for both the average and also the poor part, okay. So here under value if false, we just type in the formula if, open bracket, click again on cell L9, input the formula or the symbol of greater than or equal to 50, all right, mark it as average, and then you put comma before we start off for the third and final condition, which is below 50 is poor. So here you put if again, all right, open bracket, you highlight cell L9 greater than 0. Okay, and then here you can mark it as poor, right? So logical test value if true is straightforward, but for value if false, you need to input for both criteria. Between 50 and 79 is average, so you put greater than or equal to 50 is average. And then since below 50 is poor, you need to input the starting point. That's why here we put it as greater than 0, right? Why didn't I put greater than or equal to? Because if your scores is 0, definitely you don't score any marks, right? So that's why in this case, I just put it as greater than 0 only. So if they scored between 1, okay, until 49, they will be considered as 4, right? So when you click OK, and you apply the formula to the rest of the score and to the rest of the cell, and this is what we got, right? So we have excellent here for greater than or equal to 80. Between 50 and 79, you will see here we have average. And for those below 50, for the example, Farah and also Hamilton, you can see the result that is remarked here is as poor. Okay, so that is how you want to apply if formula, all right, in 3 different case study for 1 criteria, 2 criterias, and also 3 criterias, right? So that is for if formula. Now, the next one, I want to show you how we can combine if and also the formula of and also or. So let's have a look at one of that first. So sharing back my screen here. Let's try and see for and, okay? Right, so this is for if and formula. So example here, okay, again in column A, we have the name of the student, and then let's say this is the subject of mathematics, right? So let's say the subject is mathematics, and in 1 year, they will have 2 tests, all right? Test 1 and also test 2. So let's say the whole year has passed, all right? And then in December, okay, as a teacher, she or he wants to know whether the student passed or failed. Okay, so we have result from test 1, we have result from test 2. So the condition is, all right, if the student pass both tests, test 1 and test 2, what does the definition of pass? Meaning they scored more than 50 marks for both of the tests, okay? So if they scored more than 50 for test 1 and test 2, only then they will consider it as pass. Okay, so if they want, if the students want to pass the mathematics exam, they need to pass both tests. So that's why we have the condition, all right? The condition is they need to score more than 50, so we are using if. And then why we are using the formula and is because we need to make sure that they pass both tests, test 1 and also test 2, okay? So let's see how we can apply if and formula together. So again, you can type the equal to if formula here, double click on the formula, and then click on insert function or the symbol fx up here. So the function arguments will come out. Again, you will see logical test, value if true, and also value if false, all right? So let's open the insert function. Now, under the logical test, right, what you need to do is we need to put the formula of and, okay, A and D, and then you open your bracket, all right? So click on cell B6, okay, the figure for test 1, the score for test 1, input the condition there, greater than 50, and then you put comma, and then click on the cell C6 for the marks from test 2, greater than 50, and then you close your bracket, right? So put here N, open bracket, click on cell B6 for Amanda. So test 1, she scores 92, greater than 50, input comma. Okay, now click on her test 2 result, which is 68, cell C6, greater than 50, close bracket, right? So if the value is true, you can put it as pass, and its value if false, you can put it as fail. So remember, the condition is they need to pass both tests. They must score more than 50 marks so that they would appear as pass in the subject itself, in the mathematics subject. So this is the logical test. Okay, value if true, value if false, we put it as pass and also fail. Click OK. And then we apply the formula to the rest of the cell as well. So just put your cursor on bottom right until you see a plus sign and then just double click here. Okay. So Amanda and Ben, no problem because you can see clearly both of the tests. Amanda, test 1 is 92, test 2 is 68. So definitely for both tests, she's scoring more than 50. That's why her final result is pass. For Ben, 85 and 78. Okay, so both more than 50. So Ben is considered as pass. But if you can see for Charles, okay, even though in test 1, he passed, okay, because he scores more than 50, but in test 2, he scores exactly 50, all right? He needs to score more than 50, therefore 51 and above, only then he will appear as pass. So that's why here the result is fail because he didn't score in both of the tests, okay? If I change Charles from 50 to 51, you can see the result has changed to pass because both he scores more than 50, right? So that is how you want to combine if and and formula together. So I reopen back the insert function. Under logical test, key in the keyword and, all right? And then do the condition for both of the cell, right? In this case, B6 greater than 50, comma, C6 greater than 50, all right? So that is for if and also and formula, right? So we've covered one if formula only stand alone with 3 different conditions, case study 1, 2, and 3 earlier. And then now for the second part, we've also covered the combination of if and formula together. Now, let's look at the third part of if formula, which is the combination of if and also or formula. Okay, so let me reshare back my screen and share with you the file of if and also or. All right, so this is for if and also or, right? So we have test 1, test 2, and also result. So the condition is if the student scores greater than 50 marks for any of the tests. Okay, so it can be test 1 or test 2. Then the teacher said, all right, this student I considered pass. Okay, so either one lah, salah satu saja. If in test 1 they've already scored and test 2 they didn't, they still considered the student as pass. And if they didn't score in test 1 but they make a comeback and they scored in the second test, they are also considered as pass. Okay, so how do we perform the OR formula? So it's the same, all right? So it's the same as per the AND formula that we go through earlier. Under the logical test, okay, instead of putting the word AND, okay, you put the word OR. So OR, or open bracket, you click on cell B6, okay, Amanda scored 92 in her first test, greater than 50, comma, and then click on cell C6, and then type greater than 50, close bracket. So value if true, it's pass. Value if false, it's fail. Okay, so that's why you can see here everyone passes because if they score greater than 50 for any of the tests, they still considered as pass. What if I play around with Eileen's test? Okay, so in test 2, she didn't pass because she scored below than 50. Right, but in test 1, she scored 69, so above than 50. That's why she considered as pass because the teacher said doesn't matter, okay, as long as you score 50, as long as you pass in any of the tests, I consider you as pass. But what if in test 2, Eileen scores 47 and in test 1, she scores 30 marks, all right? Now you can see the result, okay, based on the formula that we input, Eileen is considered as fail because in both test 1 and test 2, she did not score greater than 50 marks, okay? So this is a formula of OR whereby either one, right? If the student scored greater than 50 for test 1 or test 2, okay, they are considered as pass. So again, under the logical test here, just type the word OR, all right? Previously, we typed the word AND, but now we are using the word OR, okay? So that is for the conditional formula of the combination of if and also or. So the next one, we'll be looking at COUNTIF and also SUMIF. So let me share the file here. So COUNTIF, SUMIF. All right. So this is the data that we have for COUNTIF and SUMIF, all right? So if you know what count means, okay, they would count it basically. So let's say here, we highlight from G2 to G25, right? So if you see at the below here, we have count 24. So they calculated, all right, Excel helps to count for us how many cell has data in it. So that is count. But for some, it only applies for column with data, all right? So the only column with data here is number of items, all right? So if I highlight in column E, you can see the count is 37. There are 37 row, okay, that has data in it. And the sum is 551, meaning they add up all of these numbers together. Sorry. So that is the difference between count and sum. Now we have in column A the order number, column B is the date, column C is the driver's name, column D is our normal household item. Okay, let's say here we have television, washing machine, refrigerator, microwave, etc. Column E is the number of items. Column F is the transportation. All right, is the driver driving truck 1, truck 2, truck 3, truck 4, or they are sending the item to the customers using airplane. Okay, and then in column G we have the destination. Okay, all of this is in the US, so either it's in Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and etc. Right? So here we'll look into SUMIF and COUNTIF. Right? So example here, we want to find the sum of refrigerator items. Right? So here, usually what would people do? Okay, we will use the filter and sort here. So we will only filter to what do they want earlier? It's refrigerator, right? So we click only on refrigerator here, okay, and then we highlight the number of item. Then we see the sum is 105, all right? And then maybe they type here 105, all right? There's nothing wrong with this, right? Because the answer is exactly the same. You still get 105. But the problem comes in when you add up more data into your lines, okay? So example here, the data that you have ended at row 25, okay? So what if you continue to add in your data starting row 26 onwards? If you use the sort and filter method earlier, you will need to change and redo your calculation every time you add in your data. So we don't want double work for you. We want to make it easier for you. So that's why I'm sharing with you how we can use the formula of SUMIF here, right? So the formula of SUMIF, again, remember the first rule, always start off the formula in Excel with the symbol of equal to. You type in SUMIF, right? Double click on the blue color here, and then click on insert function, the FX here. So under the function arguments, you will have range, criteria, and also sub-range, right? So now I will show you how we can get 105 here. All right. So the range, okay, you need to choose the column which has the word refrigerator in it. So now kita nak cari, we want to find sum of refrigerator items, right? So where does refrigerator word comes out? It appears under column D. See? It's under item, right? So under range, I want you to highlight the column that contains the word refrigerator. Okay, so column D. In the function of argument in criteria, what is your criteria? What do you want to find? You want to find refrigerator, right? So under the criteria line here, just click on any cell that has the word refrigerator. So you can click on cell D6 can. If you want to use cell D8 also can, D9 also can. It doesn't matter as long as inside the criteria line, all right, you highlight the cell with the word of the criteria that you want. In this case, we want to find refrigerator. So here I click on cell D9, and then under sum range, remember for sum, you need to have data with numbers, right? So if you see from column A until column G, there is only one column with numbers, which is column E, right? Column A, B, C, D, all just item, driver's name, dates, and also order number, not relevant. Column F and column G is also your data. All right, it's in wordings, in alphabet, it's not numbers. So sum range must always be the column with numbers. So in this case, it's column E. Okay, it's column E, number of items. When you click on OK, you can see it's 105 here. So what if you are doubting your formula? What you can do to double check is, again, that's what I did. If let's say you are not sure whether your formula is correct, let's click only on refrigerator and sum it together. You will still get the sum of 105 for refrigerator. Okay, so your formula is correct. Now let's try and do for washing machine. So it's the same, right? So equal to sum if, double click on sum if, click on the insert function. Now range, remember, we want to find washing machine, so highlight the column with washing machine words. So in this case, column D, that is under your range. Criteria, just highlight the cell with the word washing machine. So let's say I use cell D3. Okay, D3 has the word washing machine on it. And for sum range, choose the column with numbers. So I will highlight column E. Click OK. So sum of washing machine items is 164. Okay. All right. The next one is sum of item transported by truck 4. So again, equal to sum if. Double click on the formula, insert function. Okay. So truck 4. Okay. Sum of items transported by truck 4. So where does truck 4 belongs to? In which column? Truck 4, you can find it under F column. So under range, highlight F column, right? The criteria, what is it? Truck 4. So just click on any cell with the word of truck 4 here, all right? And then the sum range is column E, right? When you click OK, you will get, you'll get 156 by right, okay? So here, the reason why the formula doesn't really work is because if you can see here, when we want to input the formula, it's also under column F, right? So that's why they cannot, it appears as 0 and not as 156. So how I can troubleshoot this is, when I select my range, instead of I highlighting the whole F column, okay, inclusive of the place where I want to put my answer here, okay, we delete that first, we just highlight the relevant data only. So here I highlight cell F2 until F25. So it won't bother my answer cell here, which is F38, right? So under range, just choose cell F2 until F25, okay? And then sum range must also must be at par with the range. If just now you highlight F2 until F25, under sum range, make sure you highlight E2 until E25 as well. Okay, so when you click OK, now you can see we have fixed the problem. So it's no longer showing as 0, it's showing as 156 already. So after this, if let's say you are using any formula, SUMIF, COUNTIF, or any other formula, and you found this is the problem, when you click on OK, it shows as 0, then you may do the troubleshoot that I just shown you earlier, okay? Only select the relevant data only, right? Especially in this case, if you can see, the data is in column F, and your answer also wants to be in column F, so it will be some problem there. So to troubleshoot, just click on the relevant data only. In this case, we highlight cell F2 until F25 only, all right? So that is one of the way you can troubleshoot the formula. Now, the final part is, this one is a little bit tricky, right? Because what they ask from us is, they want the sum of items transported by trucks. You see the word here, trucks, meaning we need to include truck 1, truck 2, truck 3, and also truck 4, right? So if I want to use the formula here, let's try and figure out together how we can include all of the trucks, okay? So I type in equal to SUMIF, double click on the formula, and then I click on fx or insert function here. So the range, okay, where does the truck belongs to? Okay, so the word trucks belong to column F. So I highlight cell F2 until F25, right? The criteria, now this is the tricky part. We want all of the trucks, okay, truck 1, 2, 3, and 4. So some people would, what they would do is they will highlight truck 1, truck 2, truck 3, and also truck 4, right? Okay. So what if you miss any of it, or you mistakenly highlight the wrong wording? Okay, maybe you highlight the word truck 1 twice. Okay, you miss out truck 4, etc. Right? So under criteria, what you can do is you type the word truck, okay, with asterisk here. Okay, so truck, all right, with asterisk, you can click on shift number 8, right? And then under sum range, we highlight cell E2 until E25. So in this case, when we put the criteria as the word truck, okay, with asterisk, Excel will pick up all of the word truck. So Excel will pick up the numbers from truck 1, truck 2, truck 3, and also truck 4, right? So to get the asterisk, the small star there, you can click on shift number 8. Okay, so under criteria, that's what you need to put, the word truck and then the asterisk symbol. Okay, so when you click OK, Excel will read it as 511. So if we click on transport, right, we include all of the truck here, truck 1, 2, 3, and 4. Click OK. And if you calculate, if you sum it together, you will get 511, which is exactly the same number as per what I get when I'm using the formula of SUMIF. Okay. So that is SUMIF. So the first two part is, it's simple. We just want to find refrigerator, the sum of refrigerator items, the sum of washing machine items. The third one, the criteria is we want truck 4, whereby I show you how we can actually troubleshoot the formula itself. And finally, the trickier part here is we want all of the trucks. So the trick is under the line criteria here, you just type the word truck and then you finish off with the small star or the asterisk symbol, so that Excel will pick up the cell with the word truck. Okay, so it will include truck 1 until truck 4. Okay, so that is for SUMIF. Now let's have a look at COUNTIF here, right? So we want number of microwave orders in Boston. Okay, so here if you can see, all right, earlier we are using SUMIF only without S because there's only one condition: refrigerator only, washing machine only, truck 4, and trucks. Okay, so when we start going into COUNTIFs, okay, why are we using with S, okay, not COUNTIF only? Is because if you see here, there are two conditions. We want microwave and also we want in Boston. So there are two criteria here, right? So let's type COUNTIFs with the letter S here, double click on the formula and click on insert function. Now criteria range 1, what is the range? Microwave. So microwave belongs in which column, right? So microwave belongs in column D. So I highlight column D, right? Then the criteria is the word microwave. So I just highlight on cell D12, okay, there's the word microwave here. Criteria range 2 is what? We want microwave orders in Boston. So Boston is in which column? Boston is in the G column here. And under criteria 2, you need to click on any of the cell with the word Boston. So you can choose cell G2 can. You want to use G6 also can. Doesn't matter as long as it has the word Boston, right? So after we have input, okay, the both criteria here, you just click OK. All right, so number of microwave orders in Boston, actually there are 2. Okay, so let's filter only to microwave, right? And only to, let's say, for Boston. Okay, so let's highlight only Boston. So there are actually 2 orders, right? So order 100015 and also 100023. So the answer is 2, which is correct. Number of microwave order in Boston is 2 only. Okay, so that's just how I double check things. Okay, just to make it clear to you that the formula is correct. Now the next one, we want number of Peter White journeys with truck 1. So the first criteria is Peter White, that is the name of the driver. And the second one is it must drive truck 1. Okay, so again, let's type the word COUNTIFs. Why with the S? Because we have more than one criteria here. Double click on the word COUNTIF, click on insert function. So for criteria 1, right? So Peter White contains in column C, right? So C, and then for criteria, we need to click on the word Peter White, okay? But here, let me just clear the filter first, okay? So I can see all of the data, right? So let's try and do it again. COUNTIFs with S, double click, click on insert function. Peter White is in column C, so highlight column C. That is the criteria range, okay? The criteria is the name of Peter White. So here I click on cell C3. Criteria range 2 is what do we want? Okay, we want truck 1, okay? So column F. So I will highlight column F here. So again, since the data is in column F and the answer is also in column F, that's why I only highlight F2 until F25 because we don't want it to, disturb the answers area. So for criteria 2, we need to click on any of the cell with the word truck 1. So here I'm using cell F7, truck 1 here. So for criteria range 1, let's change it to C2 to C25 as well. We need to make sure it's at par with the other condition. Right, so criteria range 1, C2 to C25, all right, where we have the word Peter White there. The criteria, be specific. You want the word Peter White there, so click on any of the cell with the name Peter White. And for criteria range 2, since we want truck 1, okay, truck 1 belongs to column F, so we highlight cell F2 until F25, which is aligned with the criteria range 1. Right, and then for criteria 2, make sure you click on any of the cell that contains the word of truck 1. Okay, when you click OK, then you will get 2. All right, so that is the example and the differences how you can use SUMIF, COUNTIF. So SUMIF sum up the numbers, okay, the data with numbers inside your data, and COUNTIF, they will actually count how many lines or how many cells they are, right? And we also see an example where we use SUMIF, okay, without S, because there's only one condition. Example here, only refrigerator, only washing machine, etc. And under the example of COUNTIFs, okay, there's 2. That's why we are using COUNTIF with S, COUNTIFs, because here we have 2 criteria. We want to look into microwave and Boston. And the second one is Peter White as well as truck 1, okay? So those are the main conditional formulas that we will be using in Excel: if, COUNTIF, and also SUMIF, all right? So with that, that is the sharing that I wanted to provide to all of you for today. Okay, so I hope based on what I share, you would be able to apply the conditional formulas yourself, and I hope it will be useful for you either at your workplace, or if you are studying, I hope it will be something useful for you to use it at home as well, all right? So with that, thank you so much, all right, for tuning in, and I would like to open this session for any questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Adila, for the great and informative sharing. Also, thank you everyone for joining our webinar session for today. If you have any question, you can drop your question now. We give 3 minutes for you to drop your question. Okay, I think we have one question.
All right, okay. So we have a question from Sharon here. Hi, Sharon. Yeah, thank you so much for your question. So you can use sum for two criterias. All right, just use the formula of sum ifs with the letter S. So if you have more than one criteria, you need to use with the letter S. So sum ifs, count ifs, just like the recent example that I shown in count ifs. All right, so instead of using count ifs, you can use sum ifs with the letter S inside. Okay. So I hope that answer your questions.
Okay. I guess, yeah, that's all questions we have for today. As, uh, as shown on the screen right now, these are our upcoming public courses. Okay, so if you find today's session benefit you but not enough for you, come and join our upcoming Microsoft Excel Intermediate and Advanced training on June and July. Okay, so please contact us for more details about our upcoming training. And if you missed today's session, you can watch it again on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Once again, don't forget to fill out the output assessment provided in the comment section. E-certificate will be given only to those who complete the form. Alright, till that, we see you again tomorrow, same time with a different topic. Okay, once again, thank you everyone and goodbye. Thank you, Adila. Bye.
All right, thank you too. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. I'll see you again.